to my electrical expertise right there.
Where's Feldman gonna sit there?
Yeah, that's kind of a,
This is a really awkward moment.
I thought about just going where, that there's definitely a comfort zone over there.
Should we just mix the whole thing up?
No, I'd like to
I
have
guess
you.
vice chair, I think I'm supposed to be
Well-
right next to you so I can.
Well, which is good too, because actually, that's, my left ear is the bad ear, so you're right where you want to be there, I think. So I can hear Jeff better than I can hear you. Yeah, Sharon will have to figure out, yeah. Oh,
We didn't get to meet. Any questions on the crib sheet?
no, just with the consent agenda, I think I've got a pretty good idea that we're just kind of lumping a whole bunch of them together there on it, and I'll just make note of them too, probably as we, and if we do have if somebody's got a question about the invoices, do we discuss that before we go along with it, to get a motion and a second?
What I would do with the consent agenda, to get a motion
Okay,
and a second.
Okay.
And then any discussion would be the appropriate time for them to say.
on what, somebody got a question on the invoice, got a question
You really shouldn't go into discussion on anything
when it comes,
until you have a motion and a second.
I know that. Yep.
So a motion and a second, and then.
I always thought that was weird. You don't discuss anything until there's a motion and a second to approve it, and then you talk about it.
That's how the board can say, as a group, no, we're not going to talk about it. If it fails because of lack of a motion, we move on. I think that's what they have.
Yeah. But we haven't talked about it unless you guys talk about this amongst yourselves.
Did we agree at the original meeting that we were going to have them or us try to finalize that user agreement at the end of February's meeting? Wasn't that the final, just in case anybody wants an okay on that? But that's where we're going with that user agreement. It's not finalized. It's still if it doesn't change from the point as well.
Good to go? Good evening. We're going to start the working session for January 22nd, 2018. Starting time is about 6:05. Thank you for all attending this evening. And first thing, I didn't get any citizen request forms, so we will probably go right to the second item, is the auditor's report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Tracy Bergman. I'm from Brady Marks and Associates, and I'm here to present the district's audited financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2017. First, I'd like to thank you for hiring Brady Marks, and secondly, I'd like to thank the district staff for their assistance during our audit. On page 2, is the independent auditor's report. The district received a qualified opinion on the general fund due to material misstatement of payroll liabilities and the health insurance expense in the general fund. In our opinion, except for the effects of the matter just described, the general fund statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position and the changes in financial position in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And the district received an unmodified opinion for the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the debt service fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information, and the respective changes in financial position in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted. On page 8 is the change in net position, which includes the district's proportionate share of the pension liability. The impact of reporting the pension liability, deferred outflows, and deferred inflows was a decrease of $1,444,000 in net position. The significant changes are disclosed on pages 27 through 34. On page 10 is the summary of the general fund's revenues and expenses compared to the prior year. The general fund revenue increased $131,361, and the general fund expenses increased $436,475. On page 16 is the statement of expenditures and changes in fund balance. The general fund balance decreased $521,529, and the fund balance at the end of the year was $1,866,196. The debt service fund balance decreased by $870,646, and the fund balance at the end of the year was $244,069. The district issued refunding bonds of $840,000 in the 2015-16 school year, and then the old debt was refunded on February 1st of 2017. That's why the debt service funds went down. On page 48 is the detail of the non-major governmental funds. The food service fund balance decreased $7,752, and the fund balance at the end of the year was $6,952. The community service fund balance increased $454, and the fund balance at the end of the year was a deficit of $73,785. The building construction fund balance decreased $153,459, and the fund balance at the end of the year was $202,117. On page 49 is the schedule of changes in fund balance, and we'll review the UFAR's balance at the end of the year for the general fund. Health and safety fund balance was a deficit of $99,649. Staff development fund balance was $0. Operating capital fund balance was $245,972. Safe schools levy fund balance was $0. Long-term facility maintenance fund balance was $134,744. Committed for severance fund balance $170,000. Assigned for the forest $10,272. And the unassigned fund balance was $1,404,857. So total general fund balance $1,866,196. On page 50 is our report on Minnesota legal compliance. The results of our test disclosed one finding. The finding is the district had deposits which were in excess of deposit insurance, and the district did not have sufficient collateral to cover the deposits. We'd recommend that the district should establish a policy and a procedure to monitor the balances. On page 51 is our report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of the financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. Finding 1 has been reported as a significant deficiency, and the finding has been reported in the prior year. The finding is for the separation of duties, and we'd recommend areas should be reviewed periodically and consideration given to improving the segregation of duties. and the superintendent should review and approve all journal entries. Findings 2 and 3 have been reported as a material weakness. A material weakness is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies in internal control such that there is a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the district's financial statements will not be prevented or detected or corrected on a timely basis. Finding number 2, the district does not have the internal resources to identify all journal entries required to maintain the external financial statements. And we'd recommend the district should look to receive additional training. Finding 3, the district's payroll liability accounts were not reconciled during the year. Failure to reconcile the payroll liability accounts resulted in a misstatement of liabilities and expenses. We'd recommend that the district staff should reconcile payroll liability accounts on a monthly basis. On page 62 is our report on compliance with the provision of the manual for activity fund accounting. And we reported 2 findings. The first finding was 5 student activity accounts had negative balances with no written plans to be submitted. We'd recommend that the district should refrain from allowing student activity accounts to operate with a negative cash balance or follow the special exception. Finding 2, there were multiple student activity accounts that have been inactive for over a year. We'd recommend staff overseeing the student activity fund should review the student activity accounts for inactive accounts on an annual basis and either obtain approval from the principal or close the accounts in a manner indicated on the student activity purpose form. In addition to your report, we've also issued a separate letter. The first item in there is student activity receipts. Significant amount of activity fund cash receipts are collected as currency, not checks. Internal control procedures designed to safeguard monies collected should be emphasized. We'd recommend that all source documentation is retained by the advisor and or submitted to the business office. If the source documentation is retained by the advisor, we'd recommend that the business manager perform an internal audit periodically. In addition, we recommend that advisors write out receipts to students to record cash and checks collected, and those receipts be reconciled to the receipts received by the advisors upon turning over the cash and checks to the business office. Payroll liabilities. The district's payroll liability accounts were not reconciled during the year. When the district investigated the growing balance in the dental insurance account, it was discovered that you had a large credit with a company. We'd recommend all payroll liability accounts should be reconciled on a monthly basis. Disbursement support. We noted one instance where the district was unable to provide the support for a check that was paid by the district. We'd recommend that the district should retain all checks that are paid along with the supporting documentation for those payments. Late payments, we noted 2 separate instances where bills were paid more than 2 months past due. We'd recommend that the district should pay all bills in a timely manner. Student activity account reconciliation. We noted that the district maintained 2 separate general ledgers that did not agree with one another. We found several coding differences between the receipts and disbursements, causing the student activity funds to be misstated. We'd recommend that the district should maintain 1 general ledger system, and the district should also implement controls to ensure that the receipts and disbursements are being reported correctly. Lake of the Woods County. We noted that Lake of the Woods County incorrectly reported a power line credit as a property tax collection on the May tax settlement. This resulted in apportionment dollars being incorrectly reported as property tax collections by the district. After the error was reported to the county, it was discovered that the power line calculation was incorrectly calculated with the levy calculation. We'd recommend that the district should review the year-end Form 51 received from Lake of the Woods County. And then your fund balance. It is the district's policy to maintain a minimum unassigned fund balance of 25% of your annual budget. The current unassigned fund balance is 21% of the actual budget. We'd recommend that the Board of Education and Superintendent will need to continue to monitor the district's financial position. Any questions?
Tracy's a comment about the area deficit balance intermediate and not transfer to the general fund.
I won't say it's a common practice that I see out there. There are times when there is a deficit carried in a community service fund balance, depending on how you're going to pay for it. So.
Is there a range for the unassigned fund balance? You see the minimum is 25%, is there a high?
You guys have not set a high, a maximum. It's not too common, I don't normally see it. 25% is done now.
That's the norm, or that's a high norm?
No, that would be the recommended.
I think you acknowledged that somewhere in there when I was reading it earlier, but that trying to get us to get a greater separation of duties just to get the internal control better. But you've watched our district dwindle in size and in terms of administrative staff, over the course of the last probably decade. So it just keeps putting more burden on Jeff, right? Because you're looking at him individually and he's got control.
For certain areas, you're able to reduce some of your risks if you participate in some of those activities. So to mitigate your risk, it would be nice if Jeff could participate. As a board, you participate when you're reviewing and approving invoices. As long as you're actively looking and asking questions, those are extremely good controls, and they're very common. We see them throughout many school districts where the business office is not, you carry the separation of duties finding, but you look at other ways to reduce those risks, because you got to weigh the cost benefit of your office.
Well, once again, the question specifically is, should we expect Jeff to be sitting in on a payroll reconciliation or check record reconciliation, just sitting in the room or hearing it as much as anything, not necessarily putting a signature in things like that?
There's certain areas you would want Jeff to participate in. One is the reviewing of the bank reconciliation or the bank statement after it's been completed. Journal entries, they carry just about as much weight as the bank, the cash account. If something was to happen with a journal entry through cash, it could go unnoticed. So you guys are reviewing the bills as they go out, so those are good controls. Should he review payroll liability reconciliation? Once you guys start reconciling and it's something that can go across his desk, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. There's health insurance liability is growing. What it costs the school district for health insurance, as those rates and costs continue to go up, you have a lot of dollars running through that particular account. So you could consider that.
Your expectation is to use part of that.
Well, that's nice audit documentation for me, but it probably isn't required. I really encourage you to be actively participating in those activities. If you give me the signature, I like that, because then I know when you did it and there's accountability over it.
But even with that accountability, we're still going to have that write-up because of the number of actual staff that we carry in the office.
Yeah.
In the student activity accounts that we seem to go over again and again, is that just get sort of pushed to the side because it's such minimal amount for the most part, or it seems like that's always sort of, or should we be assigning that to these?
I think part of it is transition to staff. We should look at that. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but we are looking at shifting some of the interest accounts to AAA, ones that would fit under the AAA umbrella. So we're trying to reduce the number of, and we've talked about that, reduce the number of activity accounts. Because AAA can do different things with the money, a lot of those programs in the district. And that's part of it. And we can help with staff training, so if I don't know, this is what they're expected and stuff that they take that they need to see. We've been doing some fall into those trainings.
And then one more, as long as I got the podium. The severance fund, which I don't understand, but I looked at it, read it, said something about putting 2.5% aside and then 1% each year thereafter. Moving that properly, the initial bump in it, but we seem to have a high amount of retirees over the last 2 years, 3 years, just an inordinately high amount, and that really starts to bang away on our fund balance. Is there a policy or a program where we actually look ahead and try to predict more and put more money away in that so that we don't effectively caught, or is it just a standard procedure to put 1% away a year and hope to cover the retirement?
You know, I don't know if I see any standard procedures out there related to that. So I think, you know, you probably just need to look at what you have up and coming, whether you're looking at 2 or 5 years or 10 years. And plan accordingly.
I mean, the fund balance is a reflection of that retirement.
This year, yes, you really, I believe you had a lot of retirements in there.
Anything else? Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
So when you audit, do you look at the reasonableness of that fund balance or of that severance amount? I see it didn't change at all. So if it should, would you recommend a journal entry, or I have a question about that, I guess.
No, that's
no
really a
change at all.
management decision.
Okay.
Any other questions? Tracy, thank you
You're welcome.
for
Thanks.
the auditor's report.
Thank you.
We'll continue with reports from Superintendent Elementary Principal Jeff Nelson.
I would say it would be in your packet, the working session information was sent out, but I will take that out for you. And again, it's always available on Team Drive if you log into your email, it's easy to find.
It is.
In fact, we can just demonstrate real quick here. This is what the Team Drive looks like. And this little box here, when you open up your email, you click on this box, go to your Drive, and Team Drive, yours will look a little bit different. The blank there, the board, is new people, and we have it broken by month. So go into January. This is where information is. Here's the board packet that goes out. I have stuff for the organizational meeting here, and here's the working session stuff. And you can access this anytime, and you can check whenever you want. Sometimes it's 20 minutes before we come in here, we're adding things to the working session. So, but as we're getting the packet together, this is a good resource to check these. So our report, one thing I noticed is this is incorrect. It's not 22, this should be 2. Biggest thing is we're still from the end of 15-16 school year. Last year we dropped about 9 kids district-wide, that's a significant impact. And a lot of that was kids coming in and out. I think 17 were in high school alone. So that really hurt us financially. But we've regained over this year, we've gained 10 students back. I look at this 467 freshmen, we're still down in 10 kids. Maybe one more in February. I'm going to skip down to number 3 real quick. The Ustream. I wanted to, off the top of my head, I remember, I think it's about $1,200 that we pay for Ustream, and that's for live streaming. In February, I'll bring some more information. I'm going to recommend that we stop with the live streaming and record the board meetings, the working session, and have it available on the school website. That would be a pretty simple cost savings. People still have access to the board meeting stuff. It just wouldn't be streamed. And my second thing is the emergency cancellation snow makeup days. On the school calendar, we do have it set up for February 16th and March 29th. We're identified with the calendar committee back in whenever we did that, in August or March of last year, I guess we did it. As snow days, we've used 2 snow days. I shared some of the email feedback I've gotten from staff. I haven't gotten a lot that have talked to me. I had one today that talked about trying to make up the school days during the school year as planned, because they felt there was more quality makeup days than at the end of the year. And that's keeping in mind the state assessments and stuff that happened in May. And I think that's probably part of the reason why we selected the 16th and the 29th. What it boils down to, no matter what days you pick to make up, it's going to be an issue for someone. I guess my recommendation would be, I really think we need to make up missed days. I think we set the calendar day for 172 student contact days, and I think every day the kids are here, we need to feel that those are vitally important days. And I know in the past we've, for various reasons, forgiven 1 or 2 snow days. We had one year where there was retirement, people that were retiring in June and going in June to cause problems. I would like to see us set a culture that 172 student days are important and that we want to make all those days. So it's up to the school board to set the calendar. We did set the calendar with those days on there in the year. My concern is to make up February, March, and we have another snow day. I think the only day we have, then we'd be coming back after the board. Not the seniors, they would be, we won't want to do that.
So as far as, is it something, I know one of the questions that was posed was could we build in extra days like we used to? Is that something the community, the calendar committee could look at next year? Putting in 1 or 2 days above and beyond, so we're going just school 100?
I think on the calendar, I would recommend, I like the breaks, and I like this year's calendar. I know we have to kind of impact it because of Labor Day and all that stuff. I like having a couple of 4 days in the school year, because I do agree that if we miss days in January, December, I prefer that we make them up during the school year before the state assessment. It's logical. We can designate a couple days at the end of the school year as alternative snow days. But really, when you set the calendar for 172 days and so many vacation days, we'd still have to come back and formally go through board action to, now we're going to make up on those days. That's how I read the information that was sent out there. So we still have to go back and redesignate those vacation days as a school day or a school day. But I think having it on the calendar, communicating so everyone knows that we will make up on these days, and if we have any other snow days, we can do it. I think if you have it on the calendar, communicated, people are still gonna schedule things. At least we put that out there that close the day.
That's a discussion that I remember from the calendar committee, was that we were setting those 2 days, and if we had used 2 snow days by that time, they'd been it up.
So in the crib sheet, when we get to that point, I have it blank. So whatever discussion you want to have, or whatever motion you want to go out there. Gave you my recommendation for the last 2 days, for after the school year. You might be big on that right now. I guess my point is, I think just any and all mistakes.
I was reading a calendar from, it was Grace or somebody, but on their calendar, they said, that here's the procedure for canceled days. And it was like, your first day is this, your second day is this, and your third day. And then after that, it was, we'll have to add days. And I thought that was really nice because it was plain. And then parents, have to wonder at this
Yeah.
point, we
Well,
shouldn't be
our calendar
dealing
did
with
have
this.
it stated right on the calendar that this would be an optional, this would be a
Yeah.
snow makeup day. I
Yep.
mean,
But
both
this
days-
actually said the policy, and I think it's maybe changed or kind of, we're transitioning maybe that a different way, and this just made it real clear.
Do we have a policy?
And I did research on this website. One thing I saw for the
I would think it'd be a good idea to have a policy for that. Keyboard change. Past practice or happened is to get. I just feel like. Always.
Really, that's a big difference.
But there is a difference with quality makeup. End of the school year, you just push the track meet, the elementary track meet for a couple of days down. So I really think it's a good idea, like I said, discuss with the calendar, trying to set up some days during the school year. Prior to state assessment.
I just think that was a group that was representative of staff. And the calendar was put out there for staff, other staff to review.
So that's all I have unless someone has questions.
Any other questions? All right, we will continue. The next report will be the business office. Crystal?
Okay, so I was just gonna kind of do a follow-up on the report, and if you guys have any other questions. Originally, when the budget was adopted last year by the school board, we were planning on a deficit of around 14,000. We ended with the 520,000 approximately. It was discussed throughout the year that you guys were anticipating around 400,000. We just never amended that budget to reflect that. We were still a little over what we had anticipated. Some of the areas I have found in getting through some of it was salaries was a big part. We redid some of the contracts, so we had most people on the same health insurance plan, so that went towards salaries. We had some retro pay in the MSBA group, which was a large amount. Some of the other issues were the payroll liabilities, which one of the things that we are doing now to help with that is we're going back to July 1 of this year, and we're helping with it, reconcile all those, and then going forward, we will do that every month. Some of the other issues in there were with the student activity accounts. So we are planning, like Jeff has said, to try to move some of those accounts out to AAA so we don't have so many issues with them. One of the issues last year too was we did have 2 general ledger accounts for the student activity fund. So we have decided the student activity accounts that are gonna stay in the school, we will just be using Region 1 for those. We're not gonna have a separate Excel spreadsheet or anything like that, so that's how we track the ones that we're gonna keep in school. Yep.
And we did meet with AAA board meeting last week. They were in support of putting more activities and stuff in AAA. The hope is that that will start more involvement by parents and other groups. Because AAA is really an opportunity for activities to not just raise money for the building, but get additional so I think long term it's going to be good for AAA, it's going to be good for
And some of the internal control issues that we're trying to work with, as we know, it's always been an issue when we have a small staff in the district office. But as far as having 2 people, like for the payroll liabilities, looking at them, signing off on them, having Jeff sign off on all the, because every month we have Region do the bank reconciliation for us, so that's another area helping us. Then Jeff's gonna sign off on them. I sign off on them. We have journal entries when we do them. A lot of times Region did them for us, so I don't think there was no need to print out the, have to look at them. I don't know. We're trying to, it'll be a little different to do all the student activity accounts, but with that, we are starting to put a process in where they have a new sheet to fill out to go with it, so we have extra documentation. And that's all I really have for last year's budget, unless you guys have any questions as far as an audit report and things that we're trying to address. Basically, this year, we're working on fixing the F-118 budget, so hopefully next month, we'll bring a proposed new budget. That's the goal. We're doing all that for the region now, we're not, so we have a meeting program through region to help with all this, to make it a lot smoother and easier, so that's what we're working on here. And then we'll start on next year.
Is Brady Mark, since we're paying them as our auditor, can you call her up in 3 months and say, we're doing this now? Is this gonna achieve what you thought was a, liability or a shortcoming that we had last time? I mean, are they open that way, or do we just hire them to do the audit and that's our only interaction?
Well, with talking to Tracy through this audit this year, one of the statements she had made was, I just audit the numbers. All I do is I look at the numbers and I just audit the numbers. They won't necessarily
Recommend things?
yeah. So you can say, let them know this is what we're doing, but they're not gonna necessarily say, oh, that's right, or that's wrong, or that's gonna work for next year when we audit you, that that's gonna be sufficient.
When Sharon asked about the community ed fund, trying to transfer them to they don't look like poorly on the general fund now.
Well, normally, the community ed fund is, if it's a negative amount, it's balanced out to 0 because you do a transfer between the 2 funds. The state used to frown upon a community ed program during the negative balance. That's why I asked about that.
Right, and my point is she didn't offer that that was the way to do it, but she kind of intimated that maybe you could, it's just not a standard practice. But it certainly would affect the fund balance.
I think it kind of grazed the role of the audit, Jackson, training. I have talked to her, whether it's the county, could contract for some training classes when working with Region.
I was just gonna say, wouldn't Region 1 be a resource
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
some of those? And
They're great.
I mean,
They're
as
really
long
good.
as you use them, and MSBA, you've got some good resources probably without paying extra, you know.
Yeah, and
I
math.
think that's something we
Yeah,
went
yep.
the auditor route, you might have to be firm or just don't think that's part of it.
Are you in the mentor program with Masville?
Yes. I personally think that, they basically, they're gonna tell us, this is what we recommend you doing, for these different findings they have. But then as far as for us as a school district, I mean, it's up to us to say, what are we gonna do so this doesn't happen again next year? They're not gonna tell you what to do, they're gonna just recommend, this is what I think you could do or should do, and hopefully it'll solve this from not happening in the future. So then it's up to us as a school district to figure out, well, how are we gonna correct these items?
And I'll be going to the high school.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Thank you, Crystal. With that, we'll go to the high school principal, Mr. Novak.
Good evening, everybody. At the high school level, I feel grades 6th to 12th grade, we are looking at moving towards a different math curriculum, and it's called CPM, which is College Preparatory Math. And what I'd like to do is turn this presentation over to two people who know it a lot better than I do, Chad Larson and Diane Hazelton, who are our teachers at our math department. You want them up front?
Sure.
Appreciate it.
After my,
Hi, I'm Diana Hazelton. This is my first year at Exwood. This is my 16th year teaching, so I have some previous experience teaching high school math, college math, and then middle school level math. I think most of like Franklin High School down in the northwest suburbs area.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chad Larson. This is my 4th year here, year 17 overall. Got pretty much everything along the way and all over the place. That's kind of our background.
So this is our proposal for new curriculum starting or being implemented for next fall.
One of the things we were looking at is, I know everybody hates to hear MC's word, but that is how we are judged. We've noticed that our scores are okay, but they are pretty much below average every year. We're not making growth that we feel we should. And part of it is we're trying to train students for math skills for jobs that don't even exist yet. I mean, you look at a 7th grader, they're 6, 7, 8 years out from getting that job. One thing that we've noticed with our current curriculum is students are coming out with a lack of problem-solving skills, independent problem solving. And with the trainings that we went to with the C4I, different things that we've done as staff, what we want to try to do is shift to a more student-centered classroom where they're driving the learning, they're asking the questions, and we become more facilitators for this. And the biggest thing with it is there has been some research done that shows when this happens, the rigor gets amped up. The students push themselves more on their own without us having to stand there and keep prodding them forward.
They do more of the work.
One of the things was that in December, we had Mark Christensen from Kitson County Central come over. I can't remember the exact study or what was done, but I know Kitson County Central was, I believe, Mr. Novak was at the 9th? 7th out of like 1,500 schools in the state. That's where they ranked. They were at the top. And they have had this curriculum for 10, 11 years, and they have tested significantly above on all the state assessments by at least 15%.
And Mr. Christensen did studies because of this curriculum. There's probably other factors too, but he gives large credit to this curriculum. then this curriculum also offers fosters growth mindset in students that we're going to continue to master skills throughout their math learning at the school. CPM, Gannett Cancer College Focus for Mathematics. We're proposing to adopt this in grades 6 through 12 for all of our math classes. It uses best mathematics and teaching practices provided by NCTM. This curriculum will restructure our classrooms. It'll make it more student-centered. So I think one of the goals is for our district, student-centered. This curriculum, it's also for students of all levels, not all of our students can do well with this curriculum. It'll challenge both students and teachers as well. It's going to be challenging for Chad and myself, but we are ready for this challenge. I've tried this curriculum and there is no rest. It's not the, let's correct our homework, let's give a 10-minute lecture, and then it's work time. I'm on my feet the whole time, visiting in different groups and making sure that the students are learning and gaining knowledge, helping students, discussing the mathematical concepts with each other.
The one thing is, I know it is called college preparatory math. It is not geared only for those college-bound kids. I believe this has been around for 15 to 20 years, and that's kind of the way it was implemented, but it's evolved since then. It is a nonprofit company. They try to keep their textbook costs down. It is very user-friendly. There's training available for it, so they don't just give us the books and then here you go and you're on your own.
The professional development that they provide is amazing. I've been to a couple sessions of it, but there's 3 stages of it. The first one is learning about the curriculum, so teachers just dive into the curriculum. And then the second year of your implementation, you will learn more about the instruction, and then the third year is assessment. And CPM provides this training with the cost of your textbooks, of purchasing the curriculum, you get this training. So that's not another cost that the district would have to pay for. And then they do summer workshops, like 4 days, 3 to 4 days every summer. And then they also provide with a coach throughout the school year. They also will do check-ins, like 2 check-ins as necessary. They'll come in and provide training, or they will send us somewhere to get more training during the school year. They also have great videos. Amy Keeman and Bobby Jo Pascal are 6th grade teachers, and they have looked at the videos that are provided for teachers so that you can see exactly what the intent of this lesson, what the purpose of this lesson is. Very good. And then the CPM design, there's 3 pillars of this model. So the first one is that students learn more deeply when they discuss ideas with their classmates. Talking ideas out. I have posters in my classroom that say learning happens when we share our ideas and we listen to each other's ideas. Students learn more usefully when they have problems from the real world. So this would engage the problem solving skills, and we want that. We want to foster more problem solving skills in our students. We don't want to have them regurgitate examples and regurgitate formulas without any application. And then another thing that's it's mixed space practice for item number 3. And if you're familiar with our elementary curriculum right now, we have Saxon, and Saxon is known for their mixed space practice. They're a little more traditional in the other items, but the mixed space practice fosters that mastery over time, so that as soon as they're done with Chad's geometry class, we don't forget geometry. We continue to practice it, which is missing from our current curriculum. And there's a link there. If Mr. Nelson have this in your team drive, so if you want to use that link and look at the research, there's a lot more out there.
With approval by the administration, following the steps to look at new curriculum and paperwork. We would like to roll this out for fall of 2018 if possible. And we would like to do it across all NAF or classes if possible. I know the sooner, if we decide to go this way upon approval, there is training available this summer. I think it's 3 or 4 days, and then I think it's about 4 times per year that they actually do it through the school year. That would be available to us for no additional cost.
And then some other schools that have recently adopted Boston, Bagley, Grand Forks or East Grand Forks, I can't remember which one. Kingston Central, they've been using STEM for a long time. Anoka Hennepin is piloting it this year. If they choose CPM, they're a big school district. There could be more resources for the state of Minnesota that are specific toward the state of Minnesota. But I think Deep River is also looking
Not
to,
next year,
yeah,
the year after.
and they're also looking at this curriculum. If you have any questions, the website is right there, cpm.org. And again, there's a lot of research that they've done on this curriculum. It's not for profit, like Chad said earlier. It's for students. It's the best way that we can provide math instruction for our students. So feel free to email me if you have any questions or Mr. Larson.
Have any questions right now?
You kept saying the word cost. You just sound like a board member. You know what it costs, or?
Yeah, the books are like $64 a piece.
Yeah, the books, what they do is they offer either a paperback version or a hardcover version, and that includes an 8-year ebook. So you get that free with every one, and I think it's like $62 or $65 a book, where most other traditional, I think they're around. So we don't know the exact numbers yet. We did work those out. I know we have all the paperwork filed for that. This was just kind of an informational gathering to let you know what we were trying to do.
I have some information that I can leave with you guys.
We do have the numbers, I just don't know the exact breakdown of the dollar figure.
No doubt that would be good to know. The more information we can get, the more informed we're gonna be able to make them. But sounds good.
And at what point do we have to make a decision to make that happen in the 2018 fall?
Part of our budget, we have a curriculum cycle, and I know for the elementary, math is up for review. And we budget X dollars amount for curriculum. So I think that's kind of the target for the elementary budget would be the math curriculum. High school is a little different.
Yep, we've got our curriculum and stuff.
Is it up in math? Is it the biggest expense spending in high school, right?
What we take a look at is each year we open it up and we start talking our yearly, and we first started talking about what books, what different things we need. So, if you haven't noticed this, I'm more of a social studies and science person. I get excited about math when I see my 2 math teachers excited about college preparatory math. It's fantastic. I sat in with Mr. Christensen and we went through the whole curriculum design about and where these 2 teachers want to take us. I'm very excited about it. And this is the area that we want to go, as far as finding it out. And if there's hardcovers or if there's ebooks, we'll work it.
So then you would say that as a high school principal, you would support this over like a change in textbooks for another curriculum? If you had to?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? If push
Right,
came to
right.
shove,
If it
budget
came
wise,
down to
yeah.
the dollar sign, and if we had to say, you know what, this is a major move in our school district, and we hold off for another year for this area, I think that's something.
I
have a question about students that are, like in 9th and 10th grade, and how does it work for them transitioning into a new style of learning when they haven't been kind of brought from the,
The first chapter of each algebra, geometry, algebra 2 introduces the style of teaching and learning in groups. So they do a really good job training the kids, and we will get trained on that too, on best practices on how to transition, because it is a hard transition
Yeah,
for
you have
kids. Yeah.
introverts and extroverts, and
Absolutely.
I'm an introvert, so you know.
And I know Diana has already tried to implement a lot of these ideas on her own. I haven't stepped fully into that, due to other reasons, but I plan to, after the first year, trying to just introduce more report, the shared, the think, pair share, really know a lot of it. It's just trying to do the ideas even though we don't have the current curriculum.
Are the math problems any different, or?
Yeah. You know, I'd say,
Parents?
okay, would you like a math problem? So instead of, I talked about this earlier, instead of regurgitating, find the I'm doing parabolas. So find the x-intercepts of these parabolas. They say it in different ways so that the students have to think about what the question is actually asking, instead of, you know how when you're like working out, for example, like your body gets used to doing certain motions. Well, your brain gets used to doing certain motions or certain things when you're always given the same problem in the same exact manner. So it's worded differently in hopes that we're creating mathematicians that are, students that are thinking mathematically instead of just following a procedure.
Kind of goes away from the one and done where it's just a computation done and pass them, okay, we're here, where can you go now? It constantly pushes them further. It wants them to go further even if they don't want to.
Okay. And they're not gonna go with, let's do kids, sometimes you do 5 if you really want to.
Not that we've seen.
I'll let you know.
Okay, and just real quick, back to the cost, so it's just the cost of the book,
Well, there-
basically, that's wrapped into the whole thing?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's like other text series, you know, you're gonna have like teacher's edition, that'll be a thing with that, but, overall, I know with the softcover books, it is quite a bit cheaper per book compared to a traditional math book.
Just doing the rough math, I'd say,
Pardon?
because the cost is only the books,
Okay.
you're probably looking at anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't wanna, I know in years past when I've been in other districts, math is kind of that way, it's basically you just purchase the books. You don't have, you know, novel sets or maps or globes or things, it's just, I don't wanna say cut and dry, I'm simplifying it too much, but.
I can, if you're worried about the money, we'll be within the budget. We budgeted 25,000 just in the elementary this year for curriculum.
Yep.
You know, so I think if it's gonna be more than what we budgeted this year, then we might have to pick and choose, prioritize, we'll do these grades this year, and the plan will be to add the next year. I mean, I think once we set the budget, this is what we're spending on curriculum, we're gonna stay within that, and we might have to push some things down the road, which I don't know what else to do when you're on a fixed budget, that's what you have to do. So as far as the money, it's like I said, the math and the curriculum in elementary is a priority for this coming year. And if it is that in high school, then it'll stay within what our established budget is for textbooks.
Well, that was why I asked the question
Yep.
like I did, because you don't want in May to have this big discussion at the board meeting about, oh, I want history changed, or I want math changed, you know, it just will avoid
It
that.
might just be math this year.
Yeah.
But it's more of an FYI for the board because administration actually makes the decision of
Right,
curriculum.
yeah.
Yep, but it might, it's a different philosophy, and I'm guessing you might get some parents calling you saying, you know, the kids might, I mean, I think there's a change in how it's presented. And what I like about it, it fits into all of the research and all the training we've had as far as moving away from the teacher standing in front of a classroom, rows of desk, lecturing, because that's not the world we're putting kids into. They need to be able to work in groups. So putting the kids at the center of instruction is hard for kids, and working with other kids is hard, but it makes them think more, and it's harder for the teachers as well, because I mean, it's facilitating is a little different than, here is my notes, go through it, here are your practice, here is your homework assignment. So it's a different approach to it, and I think it's good that they bring some examples of some of that stuff, because it might have some gnashing of teeth as we transition.
If you would like to see how this works, you are welcome to come to my classroom and see how it goes. My college stats class is using this stuff, and it's going beautifully. And my 8th grade, we're using some of this stuff. Please, you are more than welcome to come to my classroom and see how it works.
But
Sorry, to interrupt. We had talked to that if this were to go full-fledged, we also talked about having a community almost meeting where they come in and kind of explain the rationale, so that parents can, so they're not just, oh my gosh, what's all this, so they can have a little bit of heads up.
We do have parent guides too that provide extra practices, and it goes through examples for parents if they're sitting at home and trying to help their students.
Sounds like a good idea. What do you think, Boyd?
I know you said KCC's had some success with it. How about the other ones, or?
They are just,
They just
Boston and
started?
Bagley, I think they just adopted either this year or last year, so they're.
And I think Grand Forks or East Grand, it was kind of the same thing, it's just within the last couple of years.
Okay. And is everyone kind of experiencing the same, our math MCA scores aren't bad, but they're not the greatest?
Chad's
How
school,
we can do it.
his previous school was a school about this size, and that you guys saw a lot of growth with it.
But overall, well, sorry, but overall, to answer your question, statewide, the math scores are not making significant growth. There are a lot of them kind of went stagnant, so everybody's kind of at this point, what do we need to do better?
But my comment with that math was 1,000 is do that for basically the constant folks, but.
what excites me, besides being a student-centered, is the staff development support. I really get frustrated with Basil's that there's selling of the product. And the curriculum, that's just a tool, but if you don't know how to use the tool the right way, you're not going to get much out of the curriculum. And it's a little different with high school. Elementary, not every elementary teacher comes in loving math, and that's their expertise. Some are social study. So what that really excited me is that it gives more support for the 6th grade teachers. I wish it went down further, but it doesn't. Because it's ongoing, intense as they're doing it, rather than just a little presentation at the end of the year, and here's the book, and here's the website, good luck. So I'm pretty excited about it.
So there is no elementary version of CPN, it's just
Other
a
than
6-12.
6th grade.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's similar curriculum out there for K-5.
We need to explore that. Hopefully it comes with the staff support, so.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Mr. Novak, you've got a couple other items?
Yeah, actually, that leads with a perfect segue into some of the different tests the students just going to take the ACT Aspire and the ASVAB. And so the ACT Aspire, it used to be the ACT Explorer, which was grade grade, and ACT Plan, which was for sophomores. And ACT got rid of those, and they have what's called ACT Aspire now. And just basically the first week of December, we gave it to our students in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And we we got the results back like a week and a half ago. And so we've got it available for the teachers, information and testing guide if you can go home. And now that we're into our new semester, we make a plan with each individual group of teachers and bring the 8th, 9th, and 10th graders in and sit down and go over the test results with them so it's meaningful for them. ASVAB, the juniors took that a week and a half ago, and the results are already back. And we have an interpretation set up by Sergeant Brian Rivers this Friday. He said he was hoping that the shutdown was over, we could get his mileage paid for, and we found out it was. And so Sergeant Brian Rivers will be with the National Guard and do the interpretation for the juniors for the ASVAB test, and that's the Armed Services vocational battery test.
Make sure you get that stuff.
Yeah. Basically, we have.
Yep. It's this Friday. Oh, good. All I have.
All right, thanks, Brian. We'll continue on. Athletics or Activities Director, Mr. Hazelton.
Really not a lot to report on. The only thing that's really significant, we are hosting the subsection 1X play competition this Saturday. Other than that, all the winter sports are just following along and getting into the middle of the season.
Yeah. How's the supervisor stuff going? I know that's something we kind of implemented this year. No, the supervisor stuff, you know, parental supervisors at the games, things like that. You've got teachers supervising hockey games, basketball games.
Only one of the site supervision is when I'm not available. Otherwise, I've been in every game.
Okay, but that wasn't our expectation as a board, that's why I asked that question. I think that we had expectation. Well, I didn't think you could be everywhere all the time.
No, if I'm available, I'm at the games. Otherwise, if I'm not, if I'm coaching or something, Mike Perron is doing the hockey games. He did some of them last year. He does a good job with it. Rick Thorbeck has done a couple of them at basketball games here. So when I'm not available, the teachers that I've got filling in for site supervision are doing a nice job.
That's just a pretty new program for us, how we're handling it, that's what I was curious about. Because I wanted to make it you a potential coach, right?
Yeah. Yep, no, it's going well, and like I said, when I'm available, I'm here to take care of things. I'm pretty smooth for the most part.
Thank you. We'll continue on, board committee reports. We'll start with the school forest.
I wasn't there, so.
I know it. I think the main thing we've got coming up is March 1st. Is that right?
Yep.
We're gonna do an open house type event for the school forest skis and for skiing and snowshoes, and we're gonna meet next Monday to look at some additional planning on that event. Possibly, right, Jeff?
Is that on like the queue list? February 12th, is that what it is?
That's our regular one, but we have a special one that we talked about scheduling for possibly using this event as a fundraiser for skis.
Next Monday?
Yep.
The 29th. I'll add it to the list. It was earlier, wasn't it 6 o'clock?
You know, I just done 6, maybe a 6. I can do whatever. I can come right after work too. But we did discuss possibly having like the pool open or serving something to raise a little money. Backpack program.
I'll double check with Bob as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, Arena Committee.
Yep. We're getting close on the user agreement on the arena. I don't think we really have anything physical to hand out yet, but gone well, getting close in terms of trying to remember the liabilities were one of the bigger issues that we had, and I do have a rough agreement of what we went back and forth on, but once again, I guess just to summarize, we went from 2 pages on their behalf and 9 pages on ours, and it seemed to come to a middle ground of about 5 pages. So but that's going as well as could be expected. Nice amount of compromise and a lot of effort on the behalf of those 4 or 5 guys who are really making this happen. So if you see them, slap them on the back and say thanks for the effort, because I know they're working hard at it. And they've talked to you, Reed, I assume, a few times, but Mike is just trying to get ideas about the infrastructure that they're tapping into here, and keeping costs as low as possible, parking issues, things like that. We want details asked me after the meeting, but I think that's going well as we expected. Hopefully we have something to sign, or at least vote in the user agreement into existence at the next board meeting.
All right. Next committee.
I had asked Jeff about scheduling when, if there was another meeting scheduled, because I thought that you and John were gonna look at that, and, in view of that. I didn't see that.
So we're gonna do one more look.
Don't you?
Yeah, I think we had to do one last.
Yeah, one
Snoop's
last
gonna bring
meeting.
together, or John's
Yeah,
gonna bring together.
but Jeff and John were gonna work on it.
Anything else, Tim?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to Waste Management.
I think we hashed out had a report from Bertle that, I guess, the school's doing really well at recycling cardboard and paper. That's really bumped up. Now it's mainly keeping track of how full the dumpsters are when they actually do get dumped. And kind of go from there. It's too late for this year to have the county reassess the solid waste assessment. And if we reduce the number of times things get done, then that price will go up, that assessment will go up. The only other thing is trying to figure out what to do with food waste, and that's a challenge. Then we did have some discussion about electricity conservation that way, and other things, not just strictly waste. Anything else, Jen?
Um,
Nutshell?
Yeah, we did talk about looking at the contract.
Yep.
Just to see where that's at. And that goes back to this assessment.
Okay. The next one we had was health and safety. I could handle that one. We met and we went over the fire marshal, state fire marshal conducted an annual inspection. I'm assuming, right, Reed, was it an annual or? Triannual. He did that about November 28th, and he gave us a list of their concerns. There were I think there was about 18 items on it. All of them were very minor items. He basically went around throughout the school building and made a list of these items. You were with them, right, Reed? And gave us a list of them. We looked at the list. Basically, we just need to go back and correct them, and then they'll be back within about 90 days to take a look at the corrections we made. But they were very minor situations, all of them. There wasn't any of them that really jumped out at something on a door and things like this. It was a good inspection.
Triangularly every 3 years or 3 years?
Yeah. Last committee report, Finance Committee.
Go ahead, Karen.
We just basically went over a new format for the reporting period, the monthly reports that we get, and just talked about different things in the budget that changes from where we're currently budgeted to the changes that we're going to have to outcome for the next adjustments. So, anything else? Yep.
This will address some of the stuff that we've gone over in the auditor's report on what she's already got.
Questions, concerns? If not, that'll conclude the a working session ending at 7:16. Does anybody need a break or anything before we go right on to the regular board meeting? Now we'll call to order the January 22nd school board meeting, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item is the consent agenda. It's a new course that we're going. It's going to just I'll explain a little bit. It'll kind of group the approval of the agenda, the approval of the minutes, the approval of the invoices, and also address personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments. In fact, we have one there that'll be approve the hiring of Marilyn Myatt, a 5/7 long-term substitute English teacher, effective January 19th. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
And second by, who seconded it?
I did.
Ellis, okay. Any discussion, any on that? If not, all in favor signify by...
I have a question.
Sure.
Prior to making that motion, someone can, if they want to remove something, or do you do that during the discussion? If you want something removed from the consent agenda?
You request it before the meeting, don't you?
Before the meeting. I was not sure of the process.
I'm not either.
I'm guessing with Robert's rules, since there's a motion, you'd want to have a motion, a second, and then during discussion is when you would bring up.
Could remove.
One thing that
Okay.
would be brought up, and that's something I might interject, is some of the changes on the agenda, which are noted in red, so that that's identified. If there is something on there, if you had questions on the hire or something that, that would be, I think that would be a time to request that be moved, and then you would have to go back and,
Because then that motion
Yep.
should include those additional, approve the consent agenda with those additional items added, right? I'm just asking the question.
so in the
we-
future, we can,
Yeah.
But you would go through the motion, the second, then it opens up for discussion, then you could add or make the changes, do a motion second to approve the changes.
well, then we're getting redundant, because once you have a motion and a second, you'd probably have to do it before the motion.
The motion and the second should say that the consent agenda is approved with the additions of items 10 or 7D, F, and E, or G, right? Does that make sense to you?
Yep, what I have on the motion would be to approve the consent agenda with changes to the agenda as presented.
Yeah. And that should be the full motion. I was just asking that question
Yep, that's a
to
good,
make sure that when we're, since we're going to this new format, that we're covering all the bases.
So a change could be to withdraw one of the items.
Right.
And put it down.
And that would be it could be in discussion as well, that you
You know,
would
so-
remove, yeah.
So that would be the standard language for the consent agenda would be motion
Okay.
second to approve the consent agenda with changes to the agenda as presented.
As presented.
Does that seem logical?
That seems logical to me. I just
Okay. Yeah.
needed to get that in my head, I guess. Thank you.
All right. I do have a motion, I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Next item will be the board presenters. I think we've taken care of that. Written communications, anything there? Old business. We'll go on to new business. I need a motion and a second to appoint Cindy McDougal as election clerk.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Lyon,
And I'll second it.
second,
Feldman.
thank you. All in favor, or any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution directing administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons therefore. I need a motion and a second.
I would make a motion to direct the superintendent that way.
Motion by Lyon,
Second that?
second by Ellis. Any further discussion?
We need
Pardon?
resolutions for asking him to make recommendations.
Yeah.
He's gonna keep the fire at his feet.
Yeah, I guess so.
There you go. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution to accept a donation from the Williams Garden Club.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson. I'll second the motion. Bertram. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
You bet, thank you very much. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution to accept a donation from the Northwestern Minnesota Manufacturing Association.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Johnson,
And I will second that.
second by Lyon. Any further discussion?
Just out of curiosity, these just open-ended donations? Do they have anything
Yeah,
specific
the-
requests for the money, or?
The
one
Williams
was for the-
Garden Club was the backpack
For the
program.
backpack.
and,
Northwest Minnesota Manufacturing.
Student
um,
Council.
the Student Council, yeah.
For what, student council?
Yeah.
Did I remember that right?
Yeah, I see that, it's at the background.
And I guess
Yeah.
that's Boyd's question, are they unsolicited, they come forward with these, or do we ask? them?
Oh,
I think the Williams Garden Club, that's unsolicited. I think they've done it in the past. They're Northwestern Minnesota Manufacturing, that would be a Mr. Novak question. whether-
That was for an
Is
essay
that-
contest. And it was for an essay contest for your student council?
The $100 one, yes,
Yeah.
that was Minnesota manufacturers because they're really nice and just made a donation to us.
Way to go.
Unsolicited, there you go.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to accept the 2017 financial statements as presented by District Auditor Brady and Martz.
I'll make that motion.
Who made it?
Feldman?
Feldman, thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to revise the 2017-2018 school calendar designating the following days as makeup days for students and staff.
I'll make that motion with the designation of February 16th and March 29th as snow makeup days, school makeup days, and snow day makeup.
I'll second that.
And it was February 16th and the
March 29th.
March 29th. Any further discussion?
Is the way you're amending that the way it was originally presented when the calendar?
It was.
Committee
Those-
presented the
yes.
calendar?
Mhm.
Correct. So we're not adopting a revised calendar, we're
We're
reinstating
really
our...
restating the calendar, right?
No, we are actually revising because what goes to the state says that February 16th was a vacation day or a holiday, not a school student
But-
contact
but
day.
they
The ones
were-
that we planned for the
Yeah.
makeup.
Yes, that's what, and it was noted on the calendar that these would be designated. So
Yeah.
now we're just going to formality of saying that it's no longer a vacation day, it's a student day.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I need a motion and a second to accept the bus lease proposal from Border State Bank.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Johnson. I'll make the second. Any further discussion at all?
Happy with it, Reed?
Yeah,
It was lowest one, right?
it's the lowest one and it's local, so.
Yep.
Is that the first time that we've gotten a lease payment from them, or a lease?
No, we, a few years back, Sharon was business manager at the time, they wanted to do some leasing, and we'd talked to Wells Fargo in town and Border State Bank, and it kind of ended up being a flop. They weren't really set up for leasing. And it turned out to be a total flop, right, Sharon?
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
And we ended up having to buy the bus that year because they couldn't get their act together. Since that time, they now own, I think, 12 or 13 banks around the state, and they also have their own leasing, somebody designated just to leasing. And I know International Falls has been using them. They bought all their computers and stuff this last year, $170,000 leased through them. And they're into municipal leasing now, and they have a branch just designated for leasing. And so,
There a specific person that handles these at Border State?
Scott Vander,
It's not anyone at the local bank.
no, it's
Oh.
nobody here at the local bank. It's, they're out of Greenbush. The person's office is out of Greenbush. However, one thing that he brought back to me was that the Bank of Baudette, Border State of Baudette would be the one that got credit for it because it's in our local area. It's just like when they leased the computers to International Falls, the credit for that lease goes to International Falls. So whichever local bank is in the area that they're leasing from, that would get the credit for the lease. I don't know how that works out on paper, but
Okay.
but
It's kind
anyway.
of nice to know.
Wasn't
Even
local-
if it's
wasn't-
local bank.
Wasn't,
Yeah.
it was through their chain of banks or whatever, that, somebody there that,
Right, they sent out flyers, I think they sent out flyers they sent out flyers to the county too, I'm sure, got them because they wanted, really push the municipal leasing. Pardon me?
When's the bus going to be delivered?
The bus, we needed to get on this, and it worked out time frame real well because the bus will be delivered in about 2.5 weeks. So we have to get all our ducks in a row. Crystal's got the application right now, so they need to get it so all the papers, all the money's available the date that they deliver the bus. As the disclosure, I mean, everybody knows my wife works at Border State, so I'm happy it's there, but there's no benefit for her. There's no commission or anything, it's just,
Any other discussion? Not? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. I need a motion and a second to approve the second reading with the addition of the consent agenda for policy 203.2, order of the regular school board meeting, and policy 203.5, school board meeting agenda. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make,
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
motion by Trash. Any further discussion? No further instruction. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Any other business that we need to address? If not, we'll adjourn the school board meeting at 7:31. Thank you all for attending.